Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today let's talk about getting the most out of your faith planner. Let's go! All right, so let's talk faith planning. I actually have two different faith planners that I am using right now on a regular basis. They kind of serve two different purposes. Could you combine them into one? Probably, but I have reasons why I have a big and a classic. So the first one I use every single day, and that is my big faith planner. I have a plum paper horizontal planner that I put on Happy Planner discs. And it is the one that I take notes on a daily basis. Now, I haven't really been using the intro pages. I just didn't really find a purpose for them yet. I'm sure there is one. I just haven't found it, what I want to do with that. But I write scripture, and then every day I read and I write the verses that I'm studying, and then I take notes. And that's how I kind of use this on a daily basis. It's, serves this function of like a notebook that you might do your daily Bible study in. However, the fact that it's organized like a planner with the dates helps keep me on track. It's something I really like to do. And you can use it for all different types of purposes. Today, I'm going to be decorating this planner using some of the pieces of the Speak Life collection from Illustrated Faith. If you are working in a devotional, if you enjoy these fun collections for Bible journaling, you can actually do that in your faith planner. You can do the Bible study in here. You can answer the questions. You can do all kinds of stuff. And that's kind of what we're going to get set up for the week of March 27th. Then I have a classic faith planner, and I am using this for some different purposes. So I have this as a way that I can collect notes. So I actually don't use this particular layout, the classic size, because I like the big size. However, I had this faith planner and I wanted to make use of it. And so I use it to do sermon notes. So I decorate the pages and then I just take notes straight down. And you can see today I need to add in some more so that I will be able to take notes in the month of February. So we're going to just kind of continue. I'll probably even take out some of these pages. We might rework this just a little bit because I don't really need the months right here. This one is not necessarily dated. It's just a place for notes. So we might kind of rework that as we get started. Then I have a prayer journal. That is just going to be lined paper. You can see I just do prayer journaling on a daily basis usually. And so I just have some lined paper and I keep all of that together in there. Bible study. These are ones where I have some different studies that I print out and I want to take notes and I don't have room to take notes in here because I'm doing it's like multiple Bible studies at one time. I put that under that tab. And then worship notes. This is where I have been working through my Bible journaling devotionals from Illustrated Faith. And what I do is start out with just plain paper or lined paper, and I decorate and I do that creative part of the Bible journaling on these pages. And I really enjoy having them all together. And you can see I have some from Speak Life. This one was a process I did over on Patreon, but I use it for that. And then at the back here, these are what I call power verses. And these are other lined papers. You can see some of them are grid, some of them are lined. And these are verses that have just made an impact on me that I want to kind of carry through. They don't necessarily coordinate with a specific study or anything like that. They're just kind of beautiful, fun journaling, faith journaling pages that I wanted to keep from year to year. So that is how I'm currently using mine. There are so many ways to utilize a faith planner. The Happy Planner has released a big size faith planner. We all put up our praise hands, so excited. It starts in July 2023. I don't know yet if I'm going to switch. This plum paper planner, that's hard to say 3 times fast, goes all the way until December. And so I may make the switch in December. I may switch this and use it for something else, perhaps some prayer journaling in here, and then regular Bible study in the big faith planner. I don't know. I want to utilize all of my planners. I want to utilize all of my supplies, and that's what we're going to do here. So Have I been studying Speak Life? Yes, I've been reading through the devotional. I've made a few pages. I don't make pages for every week of the devotional, just because that's just not how my studies generally go. But I do want to use some more of these supplies. So we're going to use these as we set up my faith planner for next week. And then we're going to do a little reworking of my classic faith planner to get it set up for some more sermon notes. All right, I will link the things that I used down below. All of these supplies, I believe, are still available over at Illustrated Faith. So if you love the colors and the florals from Speak Life, which you will, you can check those out over at Illustrated Faith. All right, let's go. We are going to start out in my big faith planner, and I'm still getting used to working in this format. I'm used to the big faith planner from the Happy Planner, which is in more of a vertical format. This one is obviously horizontal. I like taking notes in the horizontal format. To me, it is much easier. It makes more sense. I don't have to deal with lines and things that I don't like. So that's a big plus. The part that I don't like about this particular spread is the extra space at the top. I wish it weren't there. I kind of just wish there were more lines, but you can use that for any number of reasons. I'm going to start out by putting some washi tape down just to add a little color on the page and get started. These boxes are colored green. Again, doesn't bother me. I just work with whatever colors on the page, but if it bothers you, that might be something to consider if you're looking at plum paper for your planning. All right, so I get questions all of the time whenever I post anything with my faith planner. I get questions with people asking, what do I write on these pages? And really, there's no rules. I don't often show a bunch of still shots of what I wrote because it is personal. I think your faith is a personal thing, and my observations are my observations and my takeaways and things like that. But what I do here, so I have different devotional plans that I follow, and I write the scripture in the shaded box, and then I just take notes on the devotion, things that jump out at me, things like that. There are no rules. People do all kinds of different things in the lined area. Maybe you are wanting to write out scripture. Maybe you're working on memorizing scripture and you just want a place to write it over and over and over again. That could definitely be what goes in your faith planner. Maybe you are writing out prayers every day. That's something I'm definitely considering going forward, that maybe this one could be more of a prayer journal, although normally I fill up a little bit more space than this, but that could definitely be something that you would keep in this planner. It's nice that it's already, dated and lined and ready to go for you. You can fill in whatever you want. If you are using a devotional like this one from Illustrated Faith, definitely take some of those elements from that devotional and include them in here. You don't have to create separate pages like I do at times in my classic faith planner. You could do all of the creative part and the Bible study part within these pages. Use these beautiful paper pieces and stickers and stamps. You could do all of that on these pages and keep all of your studies organized in that way. That would make total sense to me too. And as long as it works for you, then that's really the goal. It's about whatever will help you kind of dig in more to scripture reading or to study, prayer, whatever it is you're wanting to put an emphasis on as part of your faith life. You can accomplish that through your faith planner. It's just a matter of making a plan and seeing what will work for you. I do think it's fun when my faith planner is decorated in a way that corresponds with something else I'm studying. That's not always the case. A lot of times I just use printables from Illustrated Faith. They have a beautiful digital shop where you can buy all kinds of different printables, and I use those a lot in my faith planner just because they do have a faith theme to them, so it makes it really easy. But once again, you don't have to do just faith stickers in here or faith printables or whatever it is. You can use whatever you want. I like these. Oh, look at how cute. So oftentimes I like to decorate the spine just because I do a lot of writing in this particular faith planner, and so I don't want a lot of the lines covered up. I want to use as much of the lines as possible. So I decorate along the spine a lot because I feel like that is a place to add decoration and color and beautiful images that's not going to take up space where I would normally write. And I also like to connect the two pages because most of the time the studies I do are going to last. Well, this year I'm not doing a reading the Bible through a year. I'm just doing some different topical devotional studies. And so they last anywhere from a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, but they usually have to go together. And so the days of the week normally go together, like those topics are similar. So I like that there's like a cohesive feel to the entire week. There's also, certainly you could decorate day by day. So let me know. I have patrons that kind of do both ways, and I like that people are able to adapt what works with their brain. So I definitely have patrons and subscribers that have written before that they like to just decorate each day. They sit down, they read, they study, they take notes, and then they decorate for that day. I have patrons that do what I do and decorate for a week at a time and then just fill in as they sit down to study. And then I've had people say that they go ahead and decorate for an entire month. They know they're going to be doing a certain study, like maybe you do buy the Illustrated Faith kit each month. So they go through and they decorate an entire month, all done up in that kit. They're ready to go. And then they sit down and do the actual study day by day throughout the month. So again, it's all about what works for you. But the important thing is to follow a format that draws you into this planner. That's the case for any type of planner, whether it's just your regular catch-all planner or a faith planner like this. You want to do something in that planner that is going to draw you into that planner. So that's why I decorate my faith planner. I don't have to. I could certainly accomplish all of the note-taking and things that I do without any decorations on the page. However, because it's already pre-decorated, it's already ready to go, and because I've created it as part of my routine, it's something that I sit down with every single morning. And so then I find myself in scripture every single morning. And so that practice, that routine has developed over time. And there are little things like having my planner page decorated that help me to get the most out of that routine. So I have found that that's what works for me. Anytime I'm able to connect creativity into what I'm doing, it just kind of fills me up even more. It lights me up and it makes me more excited to kind of dig into whatever it is I'm reading. So got all the decor pieces. Now I'm just going to do a few little hole punches, repunch the holes where I covered up right here. My We Are Memory Keepers disc punch is coming in handy. I use it all the time, especially my faith planner, because I do tend to decorate the spine a whole lot. And then I'm just going to add a little finishing touch with some of these stickers that came again with the Speak Life kit. I love that I'm able to really get the most out of these kits by using it in different ways, different types of journaling in my Bible, out of my Bible, in my planner, additional pages in my planner. I just use it in all different ways, and I think the kit is pretty versatile in that way. I actually keep the devotional booklet over with my quiet time studies, so I can study that in the morning apart from creating with it. I study it separately. So I like how versatile this happens to me. So this page is done. I'm going to pop it back in, and then let's take a look at my classic faith planner and how I can restructure that just a bit. All right, I have sped this up quite a bit. So I use the classic faith layout for sermon notes. I don't need it to be dated because I will redate this. I actually end up covering up the days of the week when I decorate it anyway. So I need to kind of take out those extra dividers. This is one of those. And then what I have is actually some extra paper. So I don't need that January intentions page based on how I'm using this particular devotional. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take out some of these extra pages. This book is getting pretty full anyway, this planner. So let's cover it up, and I cut up the divider, a great way to repurpose your divider, making your planner work for you. This is how I use this particular planner journal situation. I've made it work for me. I'm cutting up some different pieces of vintagey looking paper that I got from Illustrated Faith. They had this really cool vintage paper pack available last month, and so I'm going to use that to cover up some of the edges of this page. Really, I'm just covering up the white space, the calendar that I'm not going to need. We're just putting things over the top of it. I'm choosing to use this collage method. You could just put one solid piece of scrapbook paper and call it a day, but I did want to get a chance to use that beautiful photo that was part of the faith planner originally. So let's get that down on the page, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of washi because why not? Washi is tons of fun. So putting the washi down, and then I will repunch the holes, and that's the intro page to this size faith planner that I have, this classic size. Now, The classic size faith planner goes with me to church. The big size is really big. It's really hard to take that around. So it actually just stays in my quiet time spot. It stays in a cart with my Bible. It's when I sit down to do quiet time, it's there ready to go. This one comes to and from church with me because it is where I take sermon notes and do some prayer journaling. And so that one travels, which is why I like the classic size for going back and forth between church. Now I have that January divider. It says January. I'm going to go ahead and use my label maker to print out a new label and just cover it up right over the top where it says January. Let's add the word sermon. So that way it's just, again, it's functioning for what I need it to function for, which is what your planner should be doing. And if you have a planner that you're like, oh, I wish it did this, hey, pull out your label maker, pull out some scrapbook paper and make it do what you want it to do. I never like to waste any of the planner supplies that I have. So whether I'm, redating an old planner, covering up the dates, see how there's no dates, I always cover up the top. These are really just pages that are lined, ready to go, and I like the dividers. And so we're just gonna go ahead, put these two pieces together because I don't need that monthly layout or the intentions for the month. And now I have plenty of room for some different sermon notes, and I just decorate as I go as the week comes along. Kind of like in my big faith planner, the first thing I do is put down washi tape. I always cover up these words. It is the SOAP method. The Happy Planner is infamous or famous for putting this method in all of their faith planners. It's scripture, observation, application, and prayer. And it is, an effective way to do some Bible study. It's not how I like to do Bible study. It's certainly not how I like to use this as a sermon notes piece. So I've always just added washi tape. Doesn't bother me to add washi tape. I do wish they would just do a lined vertical that was faith themed. That would be super cool. But we work with what is there. Now, this is a very cool stamp set. This is from Illustrated Faith. It's called Emily's Sermon Notes, and these are great acrylic stamps. You can see I'm just using an acrylic block, and it's kind of all of the keys that you would want when you are doing sermon notes. So I'm going to start out first with the date, because that is what I will definitely write out first. I'll put it over on the side, the date that particular sermon is, and I put some little lines, all a part of the stamp, and then the title. So I'll be putting down the title of the sermon. Our church tends to do sermon series, and so you're going to see in a second, I actually leave a lot of room for the title because a sermon will have a title, and then it will also generally be a part of a sermon series. Just how it's structured at our church. And so I'm going to use this little kind of scallopy stamp to add just a little section that will be where I write out the title of that particular sermon. You can see you just put it on the acrylic block, you get it inked up with your stamp set, press it down, ta-da! So that'll be the title section. And then there is a really cute one that says speaker. That'll be perfect. We do have a couple of different pastors that rotate out, and sometimes you have a guest pastor, all of that business. So I can put the speaker right down there. And that way it's kind of labeled over on the left. I can very clearly see what the subject matter is for that particular sermon. And then there's some other great pieces. So this one says prayer. I love this, and I'm going to put it over here at the end because I think it'd be great kind of to have a place to journal a prayer at the end of a sermon, maybe later on Sunday afternoon when you're thinking over it, something like that. I think that would be great. Just a prayer of reflection for what you just learned. And then I'm going to add, I'm trying to figure out where I want to add it. Right here will be good. Key points. So here's my plan. That block where it says key points, again, some major takeaways, your big bullet sections. Up top where you see the bullet points, that is generally where I list out scripture that is being referenced throughout the sermon, and I put it on both sides because generally there's a lot of scripture that's being referenced. I want areas on both sides. I have key points in that kind of middle left, prayer in the bottom right, and then the other two areas are just for general notes, general takeaways that I might have. So that's how I kind of structure how my notes go. Do they always fall perfectly into those boxes or those areas? No, not always. Sometimes, one part bleeds into another. Sometimes, I might have to take up some of the prayer section with some extra notes depending on what what we're talking about and what I'm learning and what I'm taking away. But that gives me kind of a loose structure to follow. I do take notes as I'm sitting there in church. That just helps me learn. I think we all have different learning styles. Some people can really sit there and take it in. For me, it helps me to be more engaged in the sermon if I'm taking notes. I was the same way as a student in like regular class. If I'm taking notes, I'm much more engaged with what's happening. So right now what I'm doing is basically covering up the dates at the top. That's the goal of all of this decoration. A, it's beautiful, so I always like seeing these colors on my page, but B, I don't need the days of the week. I don't need the dates. I don't need any of that. This is basically serving as lined paper for me. But again, I'm getting the most out of this particular faith planner, and this is what's working for me in this season. This is how I like to use that classic faith planner. And so it's a very fancy lined notebook, but I had it, it works, and I like taking it to church with me. It's really serving its purpose well. So putting in the last few touches in, and that's going to be it. I'm loving these two faith planners. I am very excited that the Happy Planner has released a big size faith planner. I will be using it again. I just don't know when I will switch to it. But I really like that I'm able to make these two formats work for me and where I am in my faith journey these days. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below how you are making your faith planner work for you. What purpose does it serve as part of your faith studies? Let me know. I would love to hear it, and I know everyone else likes to hear and read those comments to see what's going on in everyone's faith planner. I think it's fun to kind of follow along on each other's journey. I will link everything that I ended up using down below, including the faith planners from the Happy Planner and all of these goodies from Illustrated Faith. I want to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members. Thank you all so much. You're the best. It's the best community over there. If you want to check out more about Patreon, you can find a link to that in the description box as well. All right. I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.